Welcome to Saltwater Stories. Today, we're going to hear about the world's rarest marine mammal,
Oh, wow.
a species so elusive that few have ever seen one in the wild,
Hmm.
the vaquita.
It's a sad story, really.
It is. What makes it even more heartbreaking is that, many people have never even heard of the vaquita. Can you tell us a little bit more about how dire their situation is?
Yeah, so sadly, this little porpoise is critically endangered.
Oh, wow.
And that means they are facing an extremely high risk of extinction in the wild.
Extinction has different levels, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's critically endangered, and then vulnerable, and so on, until you get to extinct in the wild, and then, well, just extinct. It's hard to believe there are so many animals on the verge of disappearing forever.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder of how fragile life can be. And in the case of the vaquita, we're talking about fewer than 20 individuals left on the entire planet.
Fewer than 20. That's just a classroom of students. Imagine all those empty waters where they should be swimming.
Exactly. And they're only found in one small area of the world, the northern Gulf of California. And their numbers have been declining for decades.
What do these little porpoises look like?
So they're incredibly unique. They're small, only about 4 to 5 feet long, with these distinctive black eye patches.
Like a little mask.
Yes. And they almost always seem to have a smile on their face. A permanent Mona Lisa smile, as some people call it.
That makes it even sadder somehow. A smiling animal facing such a grim future. It's like they don't even know what's happening.
Yeah, it's true. And what's even more intriguing is that we've only known about them for a relatively short time. They were discovered in 1958, but it wasn't through a live sighting.
Really?
Mhm.
That's surprising. So how did we find out about them?
Through a skull.
A skull.
Yes, an unusual porpoise skull washed up on a beach. That's how we first encountered the vaquita.
Wow. A ghostly introduction to a species now facing its own potential demise.
It's a haunting parallel for sure.
So this skull was found in 1958. What happened next?
So scientists found this strange skull, and it was unlike anything they'd seen before, and they quickly realized it had to be a new species. They named it Vaquita sinus.
Sequoia sinus. I like the common name better. Vaquita. It means little cow in Spanish, right?
You got it.
That-
Kind of an endearing name, isn't it?
it
But a stark contrast to the reality of their situation.
is. It's almost like calling a tiger fluffy. It makes you think of gentle farm animals grazing in a field, not a creature fighting for survival in a vast ocean.
And that contrast is what makes their stories so compelling and so tragic.
So we know they live in the Gulf of California, but where exactly and what's their habitat like?
So they're only found in the northernmost part of the Gulf near Baja California, Mexico, and they prefer shallow, murky waters, often close to the coastline.
Murky, so not the crystal clear tropical waters you might imagine.
Not at all. These waters are less than 150 feet deep and are filled with sediment, making them quite cloudy. The vaquita has adapted to this unique environment over thousands of years.
How do they find their way around and hunt in such murky water? It's hard enough for me to see in a dimly lit room.
Yeah, well, they've developed highly specialized echolocation.
Like sonar.
Exactly. They emit clicks and whistles, and by listening to the echoes, they can navigate, find prey, and even communicate with each other.
That's incredible. What kind of prey are we talking about?
Mostly bottom-dwelling species. Fish, squid, and crustaceans.
Oh.
Their echolocation is perfectly suited to finding these creatures in the darkness and sediment.
So they're perfectly adapted to this challenging environment, yet they're on the brink of extinction. It doesn't seem fair.
You're right, it's a tragic paradox. You see, their biggest threat isn't a natural predator, it's us humans.
The biggest threat is us. How is that possible? We wouldn't hurt them on purpose.
It's a complicated issue with no easy solutions, but the most immediate threat comes from something called gill nets.
Gill nets. What are those?
So they're large mesh nets used by fishermen, and sadly, vaquitas get entangled in them and drown because they need to surface to breathe.
So it's accidental. They're not being hunted directly.
That's right. It's what we call bycatch, the unintended capture of non-target species. And it's devastating to vaquita populations.
It's heartbreaking to think that these animals are dying because they simply get caught in these nets. I had no idea fishing nets could be so dangerous.
Yeah, it's a serious problem. And what makes it even more tragic is that much of the fishing in the vaquita's habitat is illegal.
Illegal?
Yeah.
What are they fishing for that would require breaking the law?
It's primarily for another endangered species, the totoaba.
The totowa.
Yeah, it's a large fish, and its swim bladder is highly valued in China.
What's so special about a swim bladder? It's just a fish organ.
In traditional Chinese medicine, it's believed to have medicinal properties, and because of this demand, the totoaba swim bladder can fetch thousands of dollars per kilogram on the black market.
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
No wonder it's driving illegal fishing. But it's so sad to think that these incredibly rare vaquitas are caught in the crossfire of this illegal fishing operation.
Yeah, it's a perfect storm of unfortunate circumstances. And despite laws banning gillnets in the vaquita's habitat, the illegal fishing continues.
So what's being done to stop this? Surely there are people trying to save the vaquita.
There are. There have been some successes, but it's a constant battle.
Can you tell me more about what people are doing to save them?
Yeah, so first and foremost, there's the Vaquita Refuge. It's a protected area in the northern Gulf of California where fishing is banned.
That sounds promising. Is it working?
Well, it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah.
The problem is enforcement. The area is large, and patrolling it effectively is a challenge. Illegal fishing still occurs within the refuge.
So what else is being done?
Well, there are organizations like the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society that are actively working to remove illegal nets from the water.
So they're out there on the front lines confronting poachers and taking those dangerous nets out of the ocean.
Exactly. They patrol the waters, remove nets, and even confront fishing vessels engaged in illegal activities. It's dangerous work, and they often face threats and violence from the cartels, but they are committed to their mission.
It's incredible that these people are putting their lives on the line to save the vaquita.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder why more people aren't trying to help them.
Yeah, it is inspiring, but removing nets is just one part of the solution. There have also been attempts to breed vaquitas in captivity.
Like a captive breeding program. That makes sense. Take them out of harm's way and give them a chance to reproduce.
That was the idea. In 2017, there was a project called Vaquita CPR that attempted to capture vaquitas and establish a breeding program, but it ended in tragedy.
Oh no. What happened?
One of the captured vaquitas died in captivity due to stress. It was a heartbreaking setback and led scientists to conclude that vaquitas are simply too sensitive and don't do well in captivity.
So captive breeding is off the table. What options are left?
It seems that way. Their best chance for survival is in their natural habitat, but that means we need to eliminate the threats they face there.
Eliminating those threats sounds like a monumental task.
It is, but there are glimmers of hope. For example, acoustic monitoring is being used to track vaquita populations.
Acoustic monitoring, how does that work?
So scientists use underwater microphones called hydrophones to listen for the vaquita's echolocation clicks. By analyzing these sounds, they can estimate the number of vaquitas in the area and track their movements.
So it's like eavesdropping on them to keep tabs on their numbers.
Precisely. And this data is crucial for understanding population trends and the effectiveness of conservation efforts.
It sounds like every piece of information is vital in this fight against extinction. But how dire is the situation right now? You mentioned earlier that there are fewer than 20 vaquitas left. Is there any hope for their survival?
It's a tough question. The reality is their situation is incredibly precarious. But amidst the grim statistics, there are some reasons for cautious optimism.
Cautious optimism, what are those?
Well, for one thing, vaquitas are surprisingly resistant to inbreeding.
Inbreeding. But with such a small population, wouldn't that be a major concern?
It would be for many species. But vaquitas have maintained a relatively high level of genetic diversity despite their small numbers. This means that even a small population could potentially rebound if we can remove the threats they face.
So there's a chance they could bounce back even from such a low number.
There is. It's a long shot, but it's possible. The key is time.
Time. We need to hurry.
Yes, we need to act fast. Every day that passes, the risk of extinction increases. Scientists don't know how long we have before the population reaches a point of no return.
A point of no return. It's almost too much to bear thinking about.
Yeah.
It sounds like we need to do everything we can to help and fast.
You're right. The vaquita's fate hangs in the balance. And the choices we make in the next few years will determine whether this unique and beautiful creature survives or vanishes forever.
I can't help but think about the bigger picture here. The vaquita's story is like a warning sign, a microcosm of what's happening to so many species around the world.
You're absolutely right. Their struggle highlights the devastating impact of human activities on the natural world. It's a reminder that we need to change our ways to find a way to coexist with the planet and its incredible biodiversity.
It's a wake-up call for sure. But what can we as individuals do to help? It feels so overwhelming, like one person can't make a difference.
Well, you'd be surprised. Every action, no matter how small, can contribute to this solution. For example, spreading awareness is crucial.
Spreading awareness.
Yeah.
Just telling people about them.
Exactly. Many people don't even know the vaquita exists. By sharing their story, talking about the threats they face, we can raise awareness and put pressure on governments and businesses to take action.
So something as simple as telling a friend about the vaquita could make a difference.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power, and the more people who know about the vaquita's plight, the more likely we are to see change.
That's good to know.
Mm.
What else can we do?
We can support organizations that are working on the ground to protect the vaquita groups like Sea Shepherd, the World Wildlife Fund, and Vaquita CPR are doing incredible work. They rely on donations to fund their conservation efforts, so even a small contribution can make a real difference.
So donating to these organizations is a tangible way to help.
It is. And it's not just about donating money. We can also make conscious choices as consumers.
What do you mean?
We can avoid seafood products from unsustainable Mexican fisheries. By choosing sustainable seafood options, we can help reduce the demand that drives illegal fishing practices.
So reading labels and making informed choices at the grocery store can have an impact. I never thought of it that way.
Absolutely. It's about voting with your wallet and supporting businesses that prioritize sustainability.
What about things like writing to politicians? Can that help?
Yeah, you're talking about government action, and yes, they have a major role to play in this. We can put pressure on them to do more. We can sign petitions, contact our representatives, and demand stronger enforcement of fishing bans and stricter penalties for illegal fishing.
So being politically active and making our voices heard can contribute to change.
It can. Governments need to know that their constituents care about the vaquita and that they want to see action taken to protect this species.
It's inspiring to think that even amidst this dire situation, there are things we can do to make a difference. I feel like I have more hope for the vaquita now.
There are. We can't afford to give up hope. The vaquita story is not over yet, and every action we take, no matter how small, can contribute to a brighter future for this incredible creature.
It's a powerful message. We're not just passive observers in this story. We have the power to shape the ending.
We do. The vaquita's fate is in our hands. And it's up to us to decide what kind of legacy we want to leave behind.
It's a heavy responsibility, but also an opportunity to be part of something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. The vaquita story is about more than just one species. It's about our relationship with the natural world and our responsibility to protect the planet we all share.
It's a story that needs to be told, and a call to action that we can't ignore. It's amazing to think that even small actions can make a difference. I was particularly inspired by the work of the Sea Shepherd Conservation Society. They're out there on the front lines, actually removing those illegal gill nets. Can you tell us a little more about their work?
Absolutely. The Sea Shepherd Conservation Society is a nonprofit organization that's been working to protect marine wildlife for over 40 years. They have a fleet of ships that patrol the world's oceans, confronting illegal fishing and whaling operations.
Wow, a fleet of ships. And they're actively involved in protecting the vaquita.
Very much so. In fact, they've been working in the Gulf of California for over a decade, focusing specifically on removing those illegal gill nets that threaten the vaquita. They call their campaign Operation Milagro, which means miracle in Spanish.
Operation Milagro. I love that. It really does feel like a miracle is needed to save this species. What does their work involve?
The Sea Shepherd crews are out there day and night, patrolling the vaquisa's habitat, searching for and removing these deadly nets. They face dangerous conditions and often encounter resistance from poachers, but they remain committed to their mission.
It must take a lot of courage to do that kind of work, knowing the risks involved. Have they been successful in removing the nets?
They've made a significant impact. They've removed thousands of illegal gill nets from the vaquita's habitat, no doubt saving countless vaquitas in the process. But it's a constant battle. For every net they remove, more are set. It's a race against time.
It's disheartening to think that while these heroes are out there risking their lives to save the vaquita, others are actively working to profit from their demise through the illegal totoaba trade.
It's a tragic reality. The demand for the totoaba swim bladder fuels this illegal fishing industry, and it's a major obstacle to vaquita conservation. We talked about this demand coming primarily from China, right, where it's used in traditional medicine.
Right. You mentioned that the swim bladder is believed to have medicinal properties. Can you elaborate on that?
So the swim bladder is believed to have all sorts of supposed benefits, from curing infertility to improving circulation, but there's no scientific evidence to support any of these claims. However, these beliefs are deeply rooted in Chinese culture and tradition, and that's what's driving this lucrative black market trade.
So even though there's no proof that these swim bladders actually work, people still willing to pay a lot of money for them just because of tradition.
Sadly, yes. And it's not just about tradition. There's also a status symbol attached to possessing these rare and expensive items.
It's a prime example of how human actions, even those rooted in tradition, can have unintended and devastating consequences for the natural world. It's not just China, is it? There are people all along this supply chain.
You're absolutely right. It's a complex network. There are the poachers in the Gulf of California who catch the totoaba illegally, putting the vaquita at risk. Then there are the middlemen who smuggle the swim bladders out of Mexico. And finally, the consumers who purchase them, often unaware of the devastating impact their demand is having.
It sounds like an incredibly difficult problem to solve. Are there any examples of success stories where endangered species have been brought back from the brink of extinction?
There are some inspiring examples. Take the humpback whale, for instance.
A humpback whale. I thought they were doing okay. I even saw one breaching on a whale watching trip once. Weren't they also threatened by whaling?
Yes. Back in the 1960s, humpback whale populations had been decimated by commercial whaling. They were on the brink of extinction, just like the vaquita.
So what happened? How did they recover?
Well, thanks to international conservation efforts, including a global moratorium on commercial whaling, humpback whale populations have rebounded remarkably. They are a testament to what's possible when we come together to protect our planet.
That does give me some hope for the vaquita. It seems like the key is global cooperation. What about the use of technology? You mentioned earlier that scientists are using underwater microphones called hydrophones to listen for vaquita clicks. Can you tell us a bit more about how that works? It sounds like something out of a spy movie.
It is pretty cool. Vaquitas, like all toothed whales, use echolocation to navigate and find prey. They emit clicks, whistles, and other sounds, and by listening to the echoes, they can create a sonic map of their surroundings.
So these hydrophones are like listening in on their conversations.
Exactly. Scientists deploy these hydrophones throughout the vaquita's habitat. The hydrophones record the sounds of the ocean, but sophisticated software filters out the vaquita clicks from all the other noise.
It's amazing to think that even though we rarely see them, we can still hear them. And that's giving us valuable information about their population status.
Precisely. It's a non-invasive way to study these elusive creatures, and it's providing crucial data that's informing conservation efforts.
I read somewhere that scientists are also using drones to help with the vaquita conservation efforts. Is that right?
You're right. Drones are proving to be a valuable tool in several ways. For one, they can be used for aerial surveillance of the vaquita's habitat.
So they can monitor the area and watch for illegal fishing activity.
Exactly. Drones equipped with high-resolution cameras can cover vast areas quickly and efficiently. They allow conservationists to monitor fishing vessels and identify those engaged in illegal activities. This information can then be relayed to enforcement authorities, helping to deter poaching and protect the vaquita.
It sounds like having a virtual patrol force constantly monitoring the area.
Yeah.
Are there any other ways drones are being used?
They're also being explored for their potential to help with acoustic monitoring. Drones can be equipped with hydrophones and deployed to specific locations to collect acoustic data. This allows for more targeted and flexible monitoring efforts.
So they're like mobile listening stations. That's incredible.
Yeah.
I never would have imagined that we could use technology in so many ways to help protect these animals.
It's a rapidly evolving field, and it's exciting to see how technology is transforming conservation efforts. And it's not just drones. Scientists are also exploring the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning to analyze acoustic data and identify vaquita clicks more efficiently.
Sounds like we're giving the vaquita a fighting chance by using all this technology.
We are, but it's important to remember that technology is only part of the solution.
What do you mean?
Well, technology is a tool. It's only as effective as the people who wield it. We need strong leadership, political will, and a commitment from the international community to truly turn the tide for the vaquita.
So it's not just about the science and the technology, it's also about the people and the politics.
Absolutely. We need to address the root causes of the problem. The demand for Totocaba swim bladders, the illegal fishing networks, and the lack of sustainable livelihoods for fishing communities. Technology can help us monitor the situation and enforce regulations, but ultimately it's up to us to change our behavior and create a world where the vaquita can thrive.
I completely agree. Well, as we wrap up this part of our exploration into the world of the vaquita, I'm left with a sense of both hope and urgency.
Me too. It's a race against time, but there's still a chance to save this remarkable creature.
We've been talking about the vaquita, this tiny porpoise that's on the brink of extinction.
Yeah, it's a heartbreaking situation, but it's not just about the animals.
You're right. We've discussed the science, the conservation efforts, and the incredible technology being used to try and track them. But there's another piece to this puzzle, isn't there? The human element.
Exactly. The vaquita's fate is intertwined with the lives of the people who live and work in the Gulf of California.
That makes sense. Who are these people and how are their lives connected to the vaquita?
Well, there are the fishing communities in the upper Gulf of California. Many have relied on fishing for generations. It's their way of life, their source of income, and a part of their cultural heritage.
I can see how they might be caught in a difficult situation.
Hmm.
They're just trying to make a living, but they're also being asked to change their practices to protect a species they may rarely even see.
Yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. It's a complex issue with no easy solutions. Some fishermen depend on the illegal totoaba trade for their income, and it's a lucrative business despite the risks.
So it's not as simple as telling them to stop fishing. Their livelihoods are at stake.
Exactly. That's why it's crucial to find alternative livelihoods for these communities. If we want to protect the vaquita, we need to find ways to support the people who share their habitat.
What kind of alternatives are there?
Well, there are several options being explored. Ecotourism, for example, could provide an alternative source of income. Imagine if people could come to the Gulf of California and go on vaquita watching tours. That would bring in money and create jobs without harming the animals.
That sounds amazing. But I imagine it's not that easy to set up. Vaquitas are so rare and elusive.
You're right. It's not as simple as setting up whale watching tours. But there are other forms of ecotourism that could be developed, such as kayaking bird watching or exploring the unique ecosystem of the upper Gulf.
So it's about diversifying the local economy and finding ways to make conservation profitable. What else is being done?
There's also a focus on promoting sustainable fishing practices. For example, fishermen can use fishing gear that's less harmful to vaquitas. There are also programs that compensate fishermen for lost income when fishing bans are in place, recognizing that conservation efforts can have a financial impact on their livelihoods.
It seems like it's all about finding a balance, right? Protecting the vaquita while also ensuring that these communities can still thrive.
Exactly. It's about finding solutions that work for both people and nature.
It sounds like a delicate balancing act. How are these solutions being put into practice?
Well, it requires collaboration between scientists, conservationists, governments, and most importantly, the local communities themselves. There have been some promising initiatives. Some fishing communities are working with conservation groups to test and implement vaquita-safe fishing gear, for example.
So at least there's a willingness to try new things and find solutions that work for everyone.
There is, and that's what gives me hope. But it's an ongoing process, and it requires continued dialogue and trust building. We need to make sure that the people whose lives are most affected by conservation efforts are involved in finding solutions.
Speaking of trust, what about the Mexican government?
Yeah.
What role are they playing in protecting the vaquita?
The Mexican government has been under intense pressure to step up and do more. They've implemented fishing bans and increased enforcement efforts, but it's a constant battle.
I can imagine. The cartels that control the totoaba trade aren't easily deterred. It's a dangerous and lucrative business.
It is. It's a complex issue that involves corruption, organized crime, and a lack of resources. However, the Mexican government has been increasing its efforts in recent years. They've deployed the Mexican Navy to patrol the vaquita's habitat. They've increased penalties for illegal fishing, and they've been working with international partners like the United States to try and shut down the totoaba trade.
It sounds like they're starting to take it more seriously.
They are, but it remains to be seen if these efforts will be enough. The situation is urgent. We need to see a real commitment to protecting the vaquita, not just words.
This whole situation really makes you think. It's a story of science and conservation, but it's also a story of culture, economics, and politics. It's a reminder that environmental issues are rarely simple.
You're absolutely right. The vaquita story is just one example of the complex challenges we face as we try to protect the planet's biodiversity.
So where do we go from here? What can we do, and what does the future hold for the vaquita?
It's hard to say for sure. Their future is uncertain, but one thing is clear. If we want to save them, we need to act now. We need to continue and strengthen the conservation efforts that are already underway, find sustainable solutions for the communities that depend on the Gulf, and address the global demand that's driving the totoaba trade.
It sounds like a monumental task.
It is, but it's a necessary one. The vaquita's fate, in a way, represents a test for humanity. Can we rise to the occasion and protect this unique and vulnerable creature, or will we stand by and watch as it vanishes forever?
It's a stark choice, and one that we have to make, not just for the vaquita, but for all the species that share our planet. We have a responsibility to be stewards of the natural world.
We do. The vaquita story is a reminder that even the smallest creatures can have a profound impact on our hearts and minds. Their plight is a call to action, a call to protect the beauty and diversity of life on Earth.
Thank you for sharing your expertise with us today. It's been an eye-opening conversation.
It's been my pleasure. The more we learn about the vaquita, the more we realize how much we stand to lose if they disappear. Let's hope their story has a happy ending.
I hope so too. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this journey into the world of the vaquita. We hope you've learned something new and that you'll consider taking action to help protect this amazing creature. every single one of us has a role to play.
Yeah, we need to remember that even though their situation is dire, there's still hope. Every action we take, no matter how small, can help tip the scales in their favor. The Vaquita story is not over yet. Let's make sure it has a future.